Hey guys, it's Hannah543. Welcome back to another Beyblade X unboxing. Today we're going to be checking out the next of the November releases from Takara, that being the Emperor Might deck set. So first off, a look at the packaging. As you can see, the packaging for this has changed up quite a bit since the last deck set. We've got a pretty nice image of Emperor Might along with the two other bays. On the top, same deal. On the other side, just the typings. And then on the back of the box, it just goes over the bay itself. So of course this bay is used by Team Persona. But of course Emperor Might has the Emperor Lock Chip, the Might Primary Blade, and the new Heavy Assist Blade, along with the new Ratchet Integrated Bit Operate. And then the two other bays we get are Golem Rock with M85 NHN, and then Shark Gill with 560 FB, and then there's a talks about how Emperor Might is used to upgrade Team Persona's base. So, let's get into this. So, this deck set's definitely been pretty highly anticipated for a lot of reasons. But the big question is this going to be as good or better as the Shark Scale deck set from a couple months ago? Well, I'm gonna try and find out today. So there's Shark Gill. Next up, we have Golem Rock. And then finally, we have Emperor Might along with the second tool. So I'll get them out of their baggies and we'll go over each of the bays in more detail. Okay, so here is the Emperor Might deck set out of the packaging. So of course we got 3 different bays here. We of course have the main bay, Emperor Might, but we also have a green metal card Golem Rock, and we have Shark Gill. Now you also do get the CX assembly tool for Emperor Might, which is pretty nice. So I'm going to go over each of the bays one at a time, talking about them individually. Now, I won't go into too much detail on Golem Rock and Gill Shark, as I've just talked about them in their own reviews, particularly this one in its Hasbro release. So, I won't go into too much detail on this, but most of the focus will be on Emperor Might today. So, let's get started. So, first off the ranks, we're going to have a look at Shark Gill. So, Shark Gill is just a re-release of Gill Shark from Hasbro, but this is the first release of it in Asia, which is pretty cool. So let's have a look at the blade. So Shark Gill is a remold of Shelter Drake, so you will be expecting similar performance from this, but it is a bit more of a flat profile with its blades, but it is a bit lighter as well. So we'll say in TT format it will struggle a bit, but I will say in the Hasbro stadiums it will do wonderfully. Underneath, see, but I will say the colors on this look really nice. If you weren't a big fan of the colors on Gill Shark, I think you'll like the colors on this a lot more. It's definitely a bit more appealing. Still pretty nice. Now for its parts, we get 560. Nice to have 560. It's a pretty useful ratchet, so I can't complain. And then for the bit, we have Free Ball. This is the first release of Free Ball outside of Silver Wolf, so great to see this part make a return. So this is a stamina type combo, so can't really explain too much on that, but still pretty cool to see this blade finally get a release from Takara. Alright, next up we have Golem Rock. Now Golem Rock hasn't been available from Takara for a little while now, since its original release, but now it is back. So let's have a look at the blade. As you can see, it's done in this really nice green metal coat. It's the same green metal coat that was used on Croc Crunch. But yeah, this looks absolutely gorgeous. So this is still a really solid defense type blade, so definitely cannot complain about that. But now you can actually be defensive in style if you want, with this pretty nice green metal coat. Just for comparison, here it is with the original. So you can see how that looks. It's still nice to see this blade. Now for its parts, you get M85. I'm not too crazy about this part. I mean, it is cool to see this get a new release outside of Triceratops in this ruinized purple, but not a great part. Finally, for the bit, we have High Needle. Not a new part, but done in white. Not the best part either, but still pretty neat to see this part here. So it is a defense type combo, nothing too crazy there as well. But let's now focus on the main attraction of this deck set. Alright, let's now focus on the main attraction of the deck set, that being Emperor Might. So first off, have a look at the lock chip. I really do like the lock chip on this. As you see, we got the crown on the gear chip, on the lock chip, whatever it's called. But as you see, there's a bit of a hole in the middle for a good reason. And that reason is, this is a metal lock chip, which is pretty cool. So it has a pretty nice bit of heft to it. Now this does weigh a little bit less than the Valkyrie lock chip, so that itself can be a good thing. Because the Valkyrie lock chip, while it can be pretty good, it just adds a little bit too much weight to certain bays. So being a gram lighter does open up a few opportunities. Still very, 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 very nice lock chip. And I got a feeling a lot of people will be very happy to finally have a metal lock chip in their life. Next up, we have the Might primary blade, done in this really nice metal coat black. So pretty rounded design here. So this should actually be pretty good for some stamina use, I would bet. Still looks pretty cool. People have been dubbing this the waffle, which I think is pretty funny. And I will say, definitely does look a bit like a waffle. Still, I like the look of this blade. I'm hoping it's pretty good. Next up, we have the H assist blade, otherwise known as heavy. Now, we'll say, when you're looking at it like this, it honestly just kind of looks similar to Slash or Jaggy, which those itself are pretty decent assist blades. But when you flip it underneath, as you can see, we got some really nice metal on here. This is the first assist blade to actually have metal on the blade, which is really cool. So it adds a pretty good amount of weight to this. Actually weighs a bit. But yeah, love how this looks. So this will add a lot more needed underweight to the blades. So hopefully might keep them down a bit. Still really nice. Definitely cannot wait to give this assist blade a go. Finally, we have the new ratchet integrated bit known as Operate. So Operate, in a way, does function similar to Turbo, but a bit differently. Whilst Turbo, you switch from defense mode to attack mode over time, you actually set which mode you want to be in for the entire battle with Operate. So at the moment, it's in what I would classify as stamina mode. So you can see it has a little ball protruding out. It kind of feels like the same material that they used on Glide. So I'll be questioning a bit if that's going to be very useful or not. But the way to change modes is you lift this up and twist it. So similar to how you did mode changes with some of the drivers in Burst, which actually it's nice to actually have that familiar feeling. But as you can see, now it has changed into a whole flat, so it is now more of an attack type. Now, the main drawback with switching to attack mode is you are now a bit taller. So if I switch back to Operate, as you can see, it shrinks down, but then when you go to attack mode, you're a bit taller. So that's going to be your main trade-off with using attack mode over stamina mode. You are going to be a bit taller, but I will say, blades that do specialize in downward down attacks may benefit from this, which that will be interesting to see. So with this combination of parts, Emperor Might is a balance type, so pretty cool. Let's talk about one of the main purposes of Emperor Might. Now, the main marketing for this bay is that it is essentially an upgrade for the 3 CX Persona bays, so Wizard Arc, Drum Brave, and Hell's Reaper. So we'll start off with Wizard Arc. So Wizard Arc gets the new Might primary blade. So take this off, put this on, along with the assist blade. So this is what Wizard Arc, I guess you could say Wizard Might, looks like with this new blade. Not too bad. Now Drum Brave gets the new heavy assist blade. Take off the bit. And then we'll add the new heavy assist blade. And then check this on. So there's Drum Brave with that new heavy assist blade. Pretty cool. And then Hell's Reaper just gets the new Operate ratchet integrated bit. So there's Hell's Reaper with that new part. So it's pretty cool that they are marketing this as just a bit of an upgrade to these bays. Now granted, that's really if you're using these in their stock combos. But still, it's a pretty nice marketing ploy with this deck set, because it kind of wants to encourage you to upgrade these. Alright, let's weigh up all these new parts. So I'm only going to weigh up the blades from the other two bays, and then we'll weigh up all the other parts from Emperor Might. So Shark Gill, this blade weighs 30.03 grams, so that's at least heavier than my original, so I won't complain too much, but it's still pretty light. Golem Rock, this one weighs 34.02 grams. I think that's actually quite a bit lighter than my other one. Yeah, by about 3 grams, 0.3 grams, sorry. So, a little bit lighter. But now let's focus on Emperor Might. So, the Operate part, ratchet integrated bit, this weighs 14.03 grams. The Heavy Assist Blade, this weighs 7.86 grams. That's pretty heavy. Now, the Emperor Might, the Emperor Lock Ship, this one weighs 4.73 grams. So that's pretty heavy for a lock ship. The average weight for a CX lock ship is around 1.7 grams, so it's about 4 grams heavier. I believe the Valkyrian lock ship weighs closer to 5.7 grams, so it is about a gram lighter. And then the Might Primary Blade, this one weighs, Jesus, 33.01 grams. That is one of the heavier CX primary blades out there. That is really heavy. So let's put the bay together. So the Heavy Assist Blade, the Emperor Lock Chip, and then I'll use the CX assembly tool. Oh yeah, that's really heavy. So there's the full blade. So all together, Emperor Might weighs, oh my god, 45.58 grams. That is one of the heaviest blades out there at the moment for Beyblade X. Holy crap. So that is really heavy. I'm not too sure if that's gonna be good for it, but we'll find out. So let's put the ratchet grid integrate bit in. So there's the full combo. Also, color scheme wise, this looks really cool, and it's really heavy. So all together, Emperor Might weighs 59.66 grams. So yeah, really heavy. So let's see how this guy does in some test spins and some test battles. Alright, now we're gonna do some test spins and some test battles with Emperor Might. I'm not gonna bother doing any test battles with these two guys, but we're just mainly gonna focus on this one. So let's get this started. So I'm gonna start it with in stamina mode. So he's on a bit of a ball bit. Probably my main concern with this is it's gonna be very top heavy. I mean, you can already see that. So it's already a really tough combo, so that's gonna be fun. So now let's switch it up. So I'm gonna switch it to attack mode. So let's full flat. I will say, performance-wise, at least with these tests, It does feel a lot better than Turbo. I will say that. But just depending on if it's going to be competitive or not, that is going to be the main question. Well, let's find out with some test battles. That was a heavy hit. Oh. Ooh. That's a my look at the Emperor Mike deck set. I've got to say, I'm actually pretty impressed with this deck set. Now, speaking on the two other bays that are included with the deck set, I will say, Shirt Gill, I mean, it's alright. I mean, if you're very familiar with Gill Shirt from Hasbro, you know what to expect from this blade. But it does come with some nice parts like 5/16 free bowl. Golem Rock done in this really nice green metal card. I mean, it's worthwhile to get this blade in this color scheme. Not too sure about M85 and High Neil, but I will say I do appreciate seeing M85 in a new color at least. Now, Emperor Might. There's a lot to take in with this release, I will say that. So we'll start with each individual part. So, the lock chip, I will say, the metal lock chip, nice to have this. It definitely adds a good amount of weight to it, but do keep in mind when you're adding a lot more weight, with the CX bag, you are going to make it a lot more top heavy, so it's not going to be as stable. So do keep that in mind when using these lock chips. Now I will say, with Emperor being a little bit lighter by a gram compared to the Valkyrie lock chip, this may work in its favor. But still, nice to have an easy way to get a metal lock chip. Now the Might primary blade, I think is pretty solid. It definitely has a good amount of attack potential, and it seems pretty good at repelling quite a few attacks. So I would say this will make a good stamina blade. And its weight, it's really heavy, and I was surprised that it wasn't that, like, top heavy, which was a bit of a surprise considering the metal lock chip. But still, this should be a solid blade from certain stamina type and defense combos, to say that. Now the heavy assist blade, really solid as well. I mean, this is probably going to be really helpful for a lot of CX combos, just to have a little bit more attack potential from underneath and with some extra weight. So definitely cannot complain about this assist blade. Now as for operate, I was actually really surprised by this part. It's at least decent. It definitely performs a lot better than Turbo. That is definitely one thing I will say about it. Now I will say the attack mode on this is probably not the best mode for this. I would honestly say stamina mode is probably where this part will definitely shine. But I will say this may benefit certain upward this will mainly help, if I can talk, there's a lot of words I'm trying to say today. This part could benefit those that do attack downward. So this part might be a bit niche, but it's definitely, I would say, a lot more usable than Turbo. So that is definitely one thing that this that Ratchet integrated bit has going for it. Now, is this better than the Shark Scale deck set? I would say it's probably just a bit under it, but just not close to par. I mean, the Shark Scale deck set was really solid all around, but this is really good as well. I would say some of the part choices are a little bit questionable, but I'm definitely very happy with this deck set. So can I recommend picking up the Emperor Might deck set? I would say it's definitely worthwhile to pick it up, especially for Emperor Might. That is definitely probably the main driving force with this release. So yeah, definitely can recommend picking this up. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Beyblade X videos in the future. Until then, I'll see you all in the next video.